Hello everyone, this is Rita Holmes, independent demonstrator with Stampin Up. I am trying to get my iPad to come on with this so that I can see what I'm doing when I show you my cards, but it's not doing it right now, so I'll do it in a minute. But anyway, I'm just coming to you today. I'm going to do a technique that I call Stampin' Blends and Vellum alcohol technique, and I saw this done by another Stampin' Up demonstrator, Lyndon Bettinger. I'm doing it just a little bit differently than what she did, and which they both work very well. And I'm also going to finish a card to show you how to actually adhere the vellum to the cardstock so that it's really easy and it doesn't show through and stuff like that. So I'm going to show you that today. I just want you to know that it's almost over for celebration. So if you want to take advantage of getting free stamps for every $50 you order out of the annual catalog or the mini catalog, you get to pick a $50 or, if you got enough, a $100 gift from Stampin' Up. And that ends the end of this month. So if you want to get that in, you don't have a demonstrator, I would love to be that demonstrator for you. I have all my information in the description line for you to get a hold of me. I will tell you that I do have my Facebook group, Stamp Crazy VIP, and I have all my PDFs, tutorials from my videos over there that you can print off anytime that you would like. You just need to join that group, and they're all at your hands right there. I would like if you would share my video, give me a thumbs up, give me a comment, whatever. It helps my video ratings to where I can get a lot of this going, and I just wanted to tell you that. Now let's see if I got my video coming up yet. It is not going to come up. That's just crazy. But anyway, I don't know what that's about. I'm going to close that out, and then we're going to get started. I love technical difficulties. Just makes my day. But you know what? I'm not going to let that get me. Why should we? It still didn't come up. Okay, here we are. It did finally come up. So make sure my sound is down. Okay, now we're ready. Okay, I am going to flip my camera, turn my lights on so you can see that a little bit better. Let's flip our camera down. There you see my junky table. Sorry, I don't have any fancy switcher things to where I just go from camera to camera. I have to do it the old-fashioned way. Here's what my PDF looks like for you, which gives you all the supplies for the technique, how I did it, the supplies for the card that I'm going to show, and how I did that. And I'm going to show you, we're actually going to be doing this card, but in a different color. And let me show you several samples. So we have this one. We have this. They're all done in different colors. That is Misty Moonlight, just jade. This is apple granny, apple granny green, and let me see, purple posy. This is the color we're going to be using. I have two cards in this color. They're both with overlays. That is Flirty Flamingo and Daffodil Delight. And that has an overlay. These two overlays are for out of the Forever Greenery suite. It's the designer specialty papers there, the laser cut dies. They are wonderful. This is from the Fine Art Gallery that's in the mini catalog. That's the acetate overlays. That's on this one. I'm holding it upside down. And this one, I cut the circle out right here. And this one was using Bermuda Bay, Flirty Flamingo, and Daffodil Delight. And I just cut out a circle and then put die cuts around it. So there's a lot of different ways you can do this. and I am going to show you real quick how it's done. Now I'm going to bring in my dirty paper to protect my paper that's already down, because with Stampin' Blends they do bleed. What we're going to do, we're going to use alcohol, which I have right here, and I was looking, somebody told me theirs had an expiration date. Mine does not have an expiration date on it. So anyway, we're going to use rubbing alcohol. Mine's 70%. Linda, when she did hers, said hers was 90%, but I have this at home, so I'm using it. I will be using, here is my Stampin' Blends that I was using. So we have these to use. And then my papers I will be using. You can take a little cup and put alcohol in it with a paintbrush that has kind of a wide tip, kind of like what this does, to do your technique. Or I had this water brush and with the wide tip, and I just filled it with alcohol, and I'm going to use it this way, and that way I don't have to keep dipping. We will be using vellum. I took my vellum and cut an 8.5 by 11 piece into 4s, so I have 5.5 by 4 1/4. That way I can trim them down. And the reason why I like doing that, let me just show you under the cards, like this one. I take that an extra strip and I put it inside my card, which kind of makes it look a little bit finished. Okay, I did that on several of them. This one I put the strip up and down this way. So you can do it in all different ways. It doesn't really matter. So we are going to get started, and what you're going to do, oh, I already put a piece of vellum down. We're going to have a piece of vellum. We're just going to lay it down on our paper. Then we're going to take, and I'll do the just jade, well actually I'm going to do the one that we are going to use to make our card, so it'll be good and dry. I'm going to use Flirty Flamingo and Daffodil Delight. So I'm going to take my Flirty Flamingo, and then you just want to color your vellum. And you want to make sure you get your edges really good. And leave some spots in, you know, zigzag that to where you can put your yellow down. And I'm adding more Flirty Flamingo than I am the Daffodil Delight, because I want that to be, I want to color all my edges in. So there we go. We got all these edges and all these colors. Now I'm going to put in my Daffodil Delight. Looks like a mess, doesn't it? Then we're going to put in our Daffodil Delight, one in between. You can leave some of the white show a little bit. That's not going to hurt it. So there we go. I've got a lot of that color. I just want to make sure I get it good and dark. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, you want your alcohol to kind of puddle on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my brush a quick squeeze. And then I'm just going to take and see how that's just puddling. And I'm not going to do it to where I'm going to puddle down here. And I don't want to mix them to where they bleed a whole lot. I just want to get the lines out where, to soften those lines where I added the color. Now there we go. And as you can see, I have a real light spot right there, and I might want that darker. The beauty about these are alcohol inks on alcohol, and you can just add more color. It's not going to hurt your alcohol marker at all. I'm just going to pounce that on there just a little bit to break that up. I am going, and you can see how it's petaled in that. Now I could take those petals off. I kind of like them. I think it gives it character. So I am going to set that aside. We're going to let that one dry for a minute. You can take your heat gun and dry it on the, if you've got the Stampin' Up one, on the low setting. It won't hurt it. you can also just kind of fan it or blow it dry with your breath. You can do it either way. Now, if your brush gets kind of muddy before I go to the next color, I just take a paper towel and kind of wipe that color off, just like I would if I was watercoloring. So now let's take and let's do another one. Let's do the Just Jade and the Misty Moonlight, because that is so much one of my favorite ones. And I'm going to put my Just Jade on. And as you can see, I'm just making marks. And I like to make sure I get my edges, because even though I'm going to cut my paper down some, I want those edges to be able to decorate on the inside of my cards. Okay? So now let's take our Just Jade, and we're going to just go in between. Looks like it's going to be a dark card, doesn't it? I am purposely on this one going to leave some white show because of it being dark. So I want to make sure that there's white in there. Okay? I'm going to go through the same process. I'm going to squirt. And I'm just going to blend those colors. Not making sure that I cover up those white. I'm going to leave those little white ones. I'll blend a little color in there, but I'm not going to cover them all the way up. And I'll show you why when this gets a little dry. I should have brought my heat gun in, but I did not. And that's okay. We can let it dry. It doesn't take long. These dry, I say, within 5 minutes, and that depends on how much alcohol you've got on there. You can blot some of your alcohol off if you want. That, and see where these dark, where it's puddling right there? You can take a paper towel and just kind of hold that down there and tap, not do it real lightly, and it'll pick up some of that where it's pooled and made that real dark around the edges if you don't want that real dark edge. Now just trying to blend in some of this, the lines. So I'm going to let that one dry, and again I'm going to take and if I don't think my brush is clean, I'll just squirt a little bit of that alcohol out and clean my brush really good. Okay? It works fine that way. Alright, ladies. I think that is all the ones I'm going to do. You get the gist of it. But like I said, you can do 4 out of these. If you don't have all the Stampin' Blends, you only have a couple, you can use whatever colors you have, because, you know, color is a work of the Lord. He put so many colors out there for us, and we just enjoy their beauty, and you can enjoy their beauty mixed together on your projects here. I'm going to move this paper, and as you can see, it really left this pretty well clean. So you do want to cover your work surface so that you don't have a mess. And now I'm going to bring in, because this is pretty well dry, and here's what it's going to look like on a piece of white cardstock. Now I will tell you, on this card here, because it was so light, I put it on a piece of purple posy cardstock. Like I have the white one here, I did purple posy and then cut it so that you could see more of the purple behind it, because it was just really, really light. And so that's how I did that. So now I'm going to show you how to glue this on. Having a silicone mat is a great thing for this right here. I have 2, and the reason why I'm going to use 2 is so I can be less messy. I also, have this container that I keep my sponge in, you know, that I only use for my glue, and I'm going to show you how we do all this. Let me get a, Flipping the wrong end, that's not good. Okay, I'm going to pull a puddle of glue right there. I know it looks like a lot. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sponge, I'm going to pinch it, and I'm just going to take and blot this glue out to where it looks about like this on my sponge. Then I'm going to take and I'm going to make sure I get my edges. I'm going to go all the way around this, making sure I have any bubbles, well, not really bubbles, but any globs of glue out. And then I'm just going to put a little bit in my center. And then I have a little chihuahua. Now I have a little chihuahua hair in here. Added bonus, I guess. I'm going to get my pick tool and get that off. She was not supposed to have a hair down here for me. There we go. So anyway, well, there we did it again, because it must be on my sponge now. Or on my finger, one of the two. Okay, I'm going to move these out of my way. What I do with these, I let this dry, and I just take my finger and peel it back off. Works great. So I'm going to leave my sponges there. I'm going to bring this back in. And what I do is I line up two edges of my paper. And I make sure none of the white is showing so that I don't have to trim it. And once I get this one edge down, it usually goes easier than what I'm doing right here. I might have to trim that a little. It is just sticking crazy. I'm going to have to trim this one down just a little bit because I didn't get it on there good, but that's okay. We can take and trim it. And as you can see, there's no glue right there. Usually that goes down. I think I didn't have quite enough glue. So I'm going to turn this over on my little paper trimmer, and I'm just going to trim off an edge. Turn it over and do this side, making sure I get this off. I love these little paper trimmers for this little sit-down jobs here. Okay, and then I got a piece I'm going to if I get any glue that I don't want on my paper, I just take a glue eraser and I make sure I erase down. It's not going to hurt. I did put the ink side down. That's the side you glue to your cardstock. So I'm not rubbing any of my ink right here. Okay, we're going to bring that back in now real quick because I have to trim these other edges. And I just put that to the line to where I don't really cut the cardstock if I can help it. And there I have one edge. That would be my short edge if I wanted to use it. And then I'll come in and get this edge and I line it up right with the cutting board. And there I have the other one. Okay. Now, I got glue on my fingers. Y'all do that? Sometimes it's just a gluey mess. Now I'm just going to take my glue and I'm going to add it to a piece of gold foil, one of the gold foil sheets. So we're going to take and we're going to add this down here. Isn't that pretty? And I turn it over and I rub really good to just get it to adhere. And then what I'm going to do is I got a Flirty Flamingo card base. And I'm going to fold that with a nice crisp fold. And I'm going to add my, and you can decide whichever way you want that. I'm going to add that to my card front. Now I'm sure there's other ways that you can adhere that vellum. I like doing it with the glue because it gives it such a nice flat surface that doesn't show anything. So I'm just going to add that to my card. I'm going to go ahead and add a piece of basic white. I want to say Whisper White. I'm still in that. But we don't have Whisper White cardstock anymore. Our cardstock is now called Basic White. I like it really well. It's a little brighter than the Whisper White. It's also, some people say that it's not as smooth. I don't find that to be a big problem here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring back in my glue, and I'm just going to put a little glue on here, and then I'm going to pounce that on my vellum, and then I'm going to add my vellum strip. There I have a vellum strip down there. So that is that part. Now I'm going to bring in my design I'm going to put on here, and I think I'm going to put it at an angle. And I'm going to use dimensionals to put that on because I want it to be a little bit raised. So we're just going to put a few of these on. Actually, I'm putting on more than I really wanted to because I didn't put them in the right spot I wanted them. That's okay too. There we go. That'll keep it nice and raised. So let's take our pick tool and just pull these off. Hold on. Some of them's being a little bit contrary. This one like to tear in half. We'll just, that one's off. Okay. Let's get all those off. That one stuck too. What a day. Okay, I'm going to put this at an angle. Okay. Like so. And then what I'm going to do is take my paper towel. I'm going to wipe that really good. And we're going to take, I've already cut out an oval circle. And I'm going to use Poppy Parade just because I want it a little bit darker than what my card colors are. So this blends real well with the Flirty Flamingo. And we are just going to stamp this happy birthday in there. It's easier to stamp than cut, but I didn't want to take the time to have to cut on camera. So there's my happy birthday. And I again am going to put a couple dimensionals on here. And I'm just going to add that to the center there. And there's my card. So, we have that with our dimension. I didn't press that down good. There we go. So there is our card. Glue erasers are great to have around for the glue. And that is the technique. It's so much fun. You really need to try it. I have enjoyed it so much. Here are some of the cards again. I just want to lay them out real quick for you. I really like the overlays. And like I said, these three came out of the Forever Fern overlay. And this one was out of the Fine Art Gallery in the mini catalog. These are in the annual catalog. And that's the Tasteful Punches. And I just used a little side punch there to put the holes in my ribbon. So that is my cards for today, ladies, and I hope that you enjoyed them, and I hope you give them a try because they are a whole lot of fun. Okay? With that being said, that's all I have for you, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.